My name is Shoshana Gutschmidt. I was born in the village of Konchaki Noe, eastern Galicia, in the winter of 1923. They called me Rahel Dicek. We were a simple Jewish family, father, Srol, a diligent farmer with calloused hands from working the land, mother, Hannah, a gentle, quiet woman, always busy, cooking, sewing, caring for us, the children. Our small house had a brick oven in the corner. Outside, endless fields, green in summer, white in winter. I was the eldest daughter, and over the years, another brother and sister were born. The Ukrainians. They never truly loved us. We were strangers in their eyes, even though we had lived there for generations. They watched us with suspicion, sometimes with anti-Semitic whispers, sometimes with loud, hurtful words. We knew. Don't speak Yiddish loudly in the street. We knew when to cross to the other side of the sidewalk. But inside the house, it was warm. There were Shabbat songs, the smell of cholent, and there was hope. In the evenings, when we were already in our pajamas, Mother would tell us stories about a faraway place where Jews were allowed to be free. A place called Eretz Israel. I remember one night in particular, I heard Father whispering with a neighbor by the oven.
Hitler is rising. This won't end well for the Jews.
I didn't understand everything, but I felt something was changing, and none of us imagined by how much. When the war broke out, I was 16. At first, the Soviets arrived. They closed synagogues, confiscated property, and some families were sent to forced labor camps. It wasn't easy, but we didn't yet know how much worse it would get. In June 1941, when the Germans invaded the Soviet Union, everything turned upside down. Within days, they reached us too. Arrests began, shootings in the streets, looting. The local Ukrainians collaborated. Some joined the police, others simply took the opportunity to harm us. One day, all the Jews in our village were informed that we were being moved to the nearby town of Halich.
All Jews are to gather tomorrow morning in the town square with only what they can carry. Anyone who disobeys will be shot.
When they told everyone to gather in the square, saying they were being moved to another town, I didn't believe them. My mother kissed me on the forehead and said,
"If you have a chance to hide, do it. Survive, Rahel, for me."
From my hiding place, I saw a scene I will never forget. My younger brother and sister being taken to a truck, waiting to be transported. That was it. I knew. They weren't coming back, and so, in one moment, I lost my brother, my sister, my mother, my father. They were all taken. The next day, the SS men caught me. They beat me. They abused me. And finally, they led me, along with other Jews who remained in Halich, to the Stanisławów ghetto. There, another phase of life began. The phase of survival. Then came Rudolfsmühle, not just another place, but another world. A prison within a prison. A flour mill located within the ghetto grounds, surrounded by a high, barbed wire fence. A 3-story building, a huge courtyard, heavily guarded day and night by SS men and also Ukrainian police, the Shupo. It was a closed camp. Those housed there were not allowed to leave for the ghetto, and vice versa. No one from the ghetto was allowed to enter the mill. This was not a place of life. It was a place of survival. Hundreds of girls and young women were crowded into one large hall. We all slept together there, cramped, without privacy, without room to breathe. The work we were given was hard, humiliating, inhumane. We cleaned, dragged corpses, buried them. We stripped the dead and searched their clothes for forgotten items or money. Every morning we were woken by shouts. Every evening we collapsed exhausted. Some of us never rose again. Food was scarce. Sometimes it didn't come at all. Water, only rarely. Disease hung over us like a heavy cloud. In every corner, a cough, a fever, weakness, and another woman falling. But it was forbidden to be sick. Those who weakened were beaten. Those who couldn't function disappeared. At night was the hardest. I lay on the cold floor, among women who were once alive, once girls like me, and now only shadows. My thoughts gave me no rest. Of my younger brother and sister, whom I last saw on the truck, of mother and father whom I knew in my heart I would never see again. But amidst all the terror, one thing remained within me, the will to survive. I didn't know for whom, I didn't know how, but I wanted to live, and sometimes even that was enough to get through another day. In April 1942, 400 women and girls were taken from the Rudolf Smula camp to a new labor camp in Podfiakseri. We slept on the floors of old stables and cowsheds. Every morning, we marched in death marches to the swampy fields of Ksawerówka, surrounded by German soldiers with cruel guard dogs. We worked digging peat, a dense, damp, brown material. For the Germans, a source of energy. For us, a living hell. Near the camp lived a Polish farmer, a simple farmer, a brave farmer. Somehow, a connection formed between us. He would wait for me in the mornings on the way to the swamp, and in a few short words, whispers, warnings, he would pass information. One day, he whispered,
"An action will take place tomorrow. Some of the girls will be executed, I don't know who. But if you can, run. Run before it's too late."
He didn't know who. That night was a night of mortal fear. We hugged, cried, whispered prayers. We didn't know if we would see the morning. And then, we decided we would escape. 3 girls, Dawn, a work convoy, dogs, Germans. We reached the forest and ran. We ran like madwomen. And then, the dogs were released. Screams, barks, shots. The Germans shouted, their boots thundering behind us. The dogs howled like wolves, the forest echoing with gunshots and guttural orders. My breath caught in my chest. I could barely feel my feet beneath me. At the last moment, I changed direction. Alone, into the thicket. Sometime later, I understood. My friends, they didn't survive. I heard their screams long after the silence returned. At night, I went to the farmer's house. He opened the door, didn't ask anything, just looked, and took me to the barn. As we descended into the cellar, he finally whispered,
"You stay quiet, no matter what you hear. If they come, I'll try to stall them."
Then he closed the wooden hatch. Darkness, silence, and a prayer in my heart. In the morning, German soldiers searched. They knocked on doors, threatened. But they didn't find me. One decision, one moment, and one brave person saved my life. I stayed with the farmer for many long months. At first in the cellar, among sacks of grain, the smell of animals, dampness and wetness in my bones. Each day he brought me a bit of food with some water. He risked himself every day. If someone had found out, not just me, but him, his family, everything would have been erased. And he knew. And yet, he hid me. Once, I asked him why. Why would he risk everything for a Jewish girl he barely knew? He shrugged and said quietly,
"Because you're still a person. They don't see that anymore."
I didn't see light, I didn't hear laughter. Sometimes I forgot what was a day and what was a night. After some time, the farmer allowed me to leave the hiding place. I started helping him with household and farm chores, even that, at mortal risk. I thought a lot about my parents, about my siblings, about my childhood in Konchaki No, about who I had been and who I might still become, if I survived. Months passed. 1943, 1944. And then, rumors. The war was nearing its end, and indeed, the world changed, but I was no longer the same either. I found myself among refugees, survivors, orphans. I traveled between towns and train stations until I returned to Poland. There I met Mayor Gutschmidt. We got married. From Poland, we moved to a Leipheim displaced persons camp in Germany, finally a place with hope. I was 22, young but old. I was alone, but alive. And before me, a new beginning.
file this